Good morning, Wednesday Vessel Health class. It's nice to see you. Actually, I'm not able to see you because I'm not Zooming today. Today's date will be Wednesday, February 10th. And because we meet from 10 to 11 Zooming, I have to pre-record this because at 11 o'clock today, I get my second vaccine. And so I can't be in two places at once. So I'm pre-recording this for all of us that are faithful followers for the Wednesday class, where we are up and down from the floor, as you know. And today we are going to start on the floor with our backs up against the wall. And so if you have a wall, that's great. You don't have to have one, but it just gives that reinforcement of maintaining a nice straight spine. So hello, maybe Evelyn and Chris, Lori, Sparky, Lydia, whoever might be joining today. And I'm sorry if I didn't catch you in on that. But I know that's the general core of people that come to this class. Thank you for taking a look at this pre-recorded class. And thank you, Denise, for doing the editing for these classes and getting them online and the communication to our participants. So let's go ahead and begin. And again, on the ground if you have that wall, with your back against the wall. All right, thanks. So I'm in my little studio room today, not in the living room. And so that's some nice light shining in today. I'm going to start in Sukhasana. And what we're going to do with our back up against the wall is try a variety of different leg openings. So, or leg lengthenings positions, so that we can, again, just see how that might affect our posture and our need to engage a little bit more in the core. So right now, my shoulders are up against the back of the wall, and I can feel my hips right about here on down up against the wall. So that curve in the lumbar spine is not pressing against the wall at this point. But a wall, again, is a good feedback for letting us see when we do have that contraction. All right, I just contracted into my core, and I'm pressing that lumbar spine into the wall. And now I'm going to relax it. When I exhale, I'm going to inhale and really push out my belly. Okay, I'm going to push out my belly on that inhale. And then my exhale, I'm going to pull back into that lumbar spine. Feel that in the wall connection with your spine. And then I'm going to release that on an inhale. Everything loosens. And then I'm going to exhale. Pull back, pull in, lengthen through my spine, all the way through the crown of my head, and inhale. Releasing into that lumbar spine, and then exhale. Pull back, tighten through the core, inhale. Exhale. Grip in, push back. A few more times here. And then just come into relaxed breath and relaxing that lumbar spine. If you notice in your body, when we were doing that, at least for me, when I inhaled, I could feel a little more pressure in my shoulders up against the wall. Okay, and I felt myself lengthening up as well. And then when I exhaled, I held that length as I pressed in. And as I'm pressing in with my core, taking that lumbar spine to the back, feeling that in my hips, in my glutes, in my quadriceps in my whole lower and upper body. Exhale, release from that. So maybe this is something you can do just for core work, pretty easy core work, really. You think about the wall is there, and it's going to be our support system, and it's going to also help us to strengthen that breath, okay? So notice what leg is in front. I'm going to switch that out. So my left was in front. Now I'm going to move my right in front. And again, back into this easy cross-leg position into Sukhasana here. And from here, we're going to just do a little bit of letting our flat spine, just as it was here on the wall, letting our flat spine expand out. So walking fingers out, tense your fingers, push down into the mat, okay? And feel that coming all the way up into your arms, into your chest. Push down a little bit more, lengthen, maybe walk out a little bit more. Keeping spine nice and straight. Feel that tailbone behind you. Walking out maybe a little bit more as your back is letting you, your hips are letting you. When you feel like you've expanded in your spine as much as possible, then you can go ahead, come onto forearms, okay? And then let your heavy head go. Feel what that is like to just release all the weight of your head, chin to chest. Feel that opening in the back of your neck, traction in the front. Few breaths here as we feel this in the entire spine. Feel it opening up our hips, just because of the position that we have our legs. And then extend your hands out again onto fingertips, so lifting off of the forearms. Let your head rise up. Come into that flat spine again. Leave your right hand forward. Bring your left hand to your left knee. And let's just take a look up towards the ceiling here. Coming into a twist from that straight inclined spine. And then coming back towards center, having that really long spine again. My left fingers are going to stay grounded. My right hand comes to my right knee. Press down into the knee, press down into my fingertips, and take that look up and around. And just feeling that extension of that twist. And then letting my right hand come back. And one more time, down to forearms, let my head release. Ooh. Take a couple breaths. I know it's constricted. These are visceral breaths, breathing deep into our visceri, all of our abdominal organs that are being squished together right now. It's a good squeeze, release of toxins. And then straighten those arms out again. Lift your head up and walk your hands back, okay? All the way back so that you find yourself up against that wall again. And think about, did I have my back as straight as it is right now? This is, again, just a really good tool, really good feedback for us, okay? All right, now we'll do something with extended legs, and we're going to come back to another form of our legs being bent. So I'm going to go ahead and extend both legs out and come into a wide-legged V formation here. I'm going to lift up my hips and maybe just come over left and right a bit and sliding my back up against that wall. So I see what that's like to slide back and forth with a straight spine and a spine that is pretty perpendicular to the ground right now. That's spine center. And I'm going to flex my feet. You can or not, or you can come into pointed, or like, let's just do this for now. Let's go ahead and flex and then point and flex and point. And just getting our ankles kind of ready, because even though we're started seating today, we will be standing as well. And then come back into whether you want it to be flexed or pointed. I'm going to have mine flexed and my toes pointing upwards right now. And then I'm going to have a block available. And I'm going to take that to the right, inner side of my right leg. And I'm going to come down and slide my hand down to my right hand, to any part of that right leg that comes out. I'm going to try to take my back to the wall. Okay, that changed things a lot right there, didn't it? So I'm going to take my back against the wall, have my hand out, and then I'm going to take my back away from the wall. So see how different that might be. And I'm going to come on down. And I'm going to take my left hand up and over. And I'm just going to let myself rest into that. I'm going to let my arm just descend so that I kind of round it here. And my elbow bends. My left hand just kind of hangs there and dangles. And you're breathing in and out into that lengthening of the legs, the lengthening of the side body. And then extending that left arm long again. Find yourself opening your heart towards the ceiling, shoulder pulling back towards the wall. And then let yourself slide up so that back attaches to the wall again. And that means that your right hand comes up onto that leg a little bit more. Let's find ourselves stretching laterally here. And then bringing yourself up against the wall. And taking that left hand down. So here we were coming this way, right? Without turning our torso. Now I want you to turn your torso towards that right leg. And here we'll use that block. So now I'm going to let my body come down. And I'm going to be coming down to where it feels right for me. Don't want to pull anything, all right, in any kind of aggressive manner. You want to be slow and you want to be concise and you want to be where your body says it's okay to be. When you get to that place, let your head drop down. Let your forehead come on to the block. Your chin is tucked. We're just going to breathe into this a bit. So our first position where we were more laterally stretching, we were doing that in a more of a yang style, a more masculine style, a more active style. This one where we're facing towards the leg, we're going to take this into more of yin by letting our heads just relax into that block. Our arms are down. We don't have our feet in any kind of flexion right now. Just letting everything go. Let's take a couple breaths here. Building in that balance. The yin and that yang balance. Two more breaths here. Also with that block on the third eye. I'm getting a nice massage for the pineal and the pituitary glands. I'm going to let my hands come face down, hands down, and bring myself on up. Inhale. Find myself back up against the wall. And I'm just going to go back and forth a bit again before I go to the other leg. You can hear my back sliding on the wall. Maybe finding myself coming down a little bit more on each of those back and forths, left and right. And coming back into center again, pointed or flexed. And let's just do a few of those again. So you can definitely see the difference between one and the other. So if you flex the last time, maybe this time you want to point, see where you feel the difference in that. And take the block over just to prepare. I'm going to go ahead and slide my left hand down my left leg, but first take my back towards the wall and see what difference that is. So both shoulders are still on the wall. My hand is stretched out. My other arm rises up. Sorry, picture. Thought I should take that down. And comes on over. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my back away from the wall, keeping that back straight. Okay, as straight as I can, and letting myself come over to the left, and letting that hand just fold. Fold and rest. Still staying active in my legs with those pointed feet. Feeling that opening in the ribs, side of the body on the right side, all the way from the waist up. Can you feel it? Breathe into the sensation that you feel right now. And one more big breath here. And then extend your hand outward, lengthening it so that both arms are coming over that extended left leg. Your breath lets you descend a little bit farther down. And then I'm going to take slowly that left arm up a bit. Right arm comes back, and the right arm and my shoulders come against that wall. Feel that straight spine, and then bring it on up. Now let's take that hand down. I'm going to take this down before it breaks or I hurt myself on it. Don't want that. So let's go ahead again and find ourselves really centered. And here we're going to go into the more relaxed phase of a stretch to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and look towards that left leg, walk myself down, take myself to wherever that feels good, release myself from either being flexed or pointed, and let my forehead come onto that block. Remembering that that block has lots of different, not lots, 3 levels that you can use. You can also stack your fists and use that. Or if you don't have a block, you can take any other resource you might have in your creative fashion. Maybe pillows stacked on top of the other, cushions, toilet paper rolls stacked on top of one another. You guys have been doing this a long time, so you either have a block or you don't, or you're using something else. You can also just hang here, but just having that support of the block on my third eye, it's doing a lot for me. It's letting me just go. It's letting me relax, not have to worry about my head hanging, right? And it's also giving me that massage into those nice glands that are there behind my third eye. And I'm breathing. Looking down towards my belly, and I'm noticing my belly expanding and contracting. Two more big breaths here. And then taking my hands palm down, go ahead and walk myself back up. Find my connection to the wall. So I'm back up against the wall. And if I'm not pulling in here, right, then my lumbar spine is away from there. Let's just do that a couple more times with our legs outward. So that inhale, belly expands, and I actually get more of a lumbar curve. And then when I exhale, pull it in, take it back into the wall. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more times, please. Inhale. And exhale. Navel to spine. Good. We're going to do another couple things here with our back up against the wall. And this one now we're going to come into a cow face pose. So my knee faces you, Okay, bent, foot is behind me. My other knee crosses over, all right? And so both feet are behind me. And I can hold onto my feet. I can get my hips up against the baseboard, get my spine there as well. Can point my toes and maybe massage the bottoms of my feet here, feeling this nice cow face pose, Gomukhasana pose, in this outside part of my hips. And I'm also, again, maintaining that nice straight spine. So push in here into your feet, massaging in the pointed way. And now let's flex them. Should feel that a little bit more too. Trying again, if you'd like to try to bring lumbar spine in, it may be a little more difficult here. You can also work on that. And then I'm going to take my back away from the wall, keeping it straight as if it were on the wall, coming forward. I'm only feeling now kind of the base of my hip up on the wall. And I'm coming forward with that straight spine. I'm going to take my head, and so that my neck is staying in alignment with that straight spine instead of curving it upward. I'm going to take my hands in front of me. I'm going to walk forward. And when you feel like that's it for the straight spine, if you want a little more, you can curl and tuck and round and get your forehead into your knee. Janu Shavasana here in Gomukhasana pose. And as we have our forehead and our knee connected, we are not only working with the pineal pituitary glands, but also the thyroid gland. Feel that squeeze in the front of your throat. My fingers are extended, pushing down into the mat here. Breathing. Then I lift my head, taking myself back into a straight spine, walking myself back up so that my back comes in connection again with the wall, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and release those legs, and I'm gonna switch that out. First of all, you might wanna just come with your feet forward, knees up, forward, and maybe just do a little bit of back and forth here, windmilling the knees and the hips left and right a bit. And then I'm going to shift to the other side. So I'm going to go into that opposite way. So I'm going to have my left knee on the bottom this time and my right knee on the top. I was in the opposite before. So do whatever is opposite for you, and hopefully you have a better memory than me. And our bodies can help us remind us of that as well. And again, pointed feet. And let's give our toes and our base of our foot and the top of our foot a little bit of love here as we place our spine up against the wall. And we feel that in our hips. And I'm going to flex them, maybe hold on to my feet so I can help them stay in that flexed position. And again, just keeping back up against the wall. And bringing my body forward. You should feel that in the outside of your hips more as you bring your body weight forward, keeping that flat spine. Your hands can stay right where they are. You can begin to walk them forward. Okay, I'm going to take my gaze down so that my cervical spine's in alignment with the rest of my spine. I'm feeling my front of my body coming closer to that top leg. And when I feel like I've stretched out far enough into a nice long spine, I can release my forehead down to that top leg, top knee. A little bit difficult breathing, I know. A couple more breaths here. And letting myself come up, straight spine, and bringing myself back so that my hands come back up and my back comes against the wall, and finding myself again seated in this really nice way of getting attention to the outside part of our hips. I'm going to release my legs, my feet are flat, my knees are up, and I'm going to windshield wiper my legs again. I'm going to do one more up against the wall, and that is going to take us into staff pose, Dandasana. Okay, so find yourself baseboard back on the wall, hips at the baseboard, back on the wall, feet forward, legs long, into Dandasana, Dandasana here. And just sitting up straight here, noticing what it really feels like to be in this nice L shape, right? Legs right on the earth, just exactly there, parallel. Top part of our body, perpendicular. And I'm going to pull myself away from the wall now with that flat spine, okay? And still keep bringing myself forward, flat spine, feet flexed. Come only at the distance that feels right for you. And then let your arms come forward too. And just keep yourself wherever that distance is. It's appropriate for you to come forward into this forward fold here. When you get to that point again, that feels like, okay, that's it for my back, for the back of my legs. It feels good, don't want to go anymore. And then you take your chin and just let it go. Chin to chest. Let yourself totally relax here. You've got a rounded spine now, long legs. And then I'm going to lift my head up, come back to that flat spine, and then walk my hands back. See if I really had that flat spine, and it comes right back to the wall, indicating that I had a good flat spine as I went down and came back up. And now I'm going to take my fingers forward. My arms are forward. My feet are forward. My fingers are flexed. My feet are flexed. And I'm going to come forward again. And then bring myself back. Where here are you finding your breath? At first I felt like this was my inhale and this was my exhale. And then I thought, no, I'm going to switch it around. What feels good to you? No faster than what your breath is taking you. Take that spine all the way back. Two more, please. Pulling in at the navel, keeping back nice and flat. And releasing hands down. All right. Thank you, Wall, for helping us out there. And now let's go ahead and come on to hands and knees. So we're pulling ourselves away from the wall, but keep in mind what that nice flat spine felt like. So find your hands and knees. Find yourself maybe on a nice cushion or blanket or something to, again, make sure that we're protecting ourselves. Yoga is not about no pain, no gain. It's never about that. And so we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves no matter where we are. Lots of ways to do that. Please ask me if you're starting ever to get some wrist issues or knee issues. There's a lot of things we can do to assist you and to help make things more comfortable for you, okay? So please let me know. All right, so fingers are spread out, my thumbs are facing one another, and I'm gonna go ahead and do cat and cow here. Now releasing, right, letting that tailbone rise up and look up. Lumbar spine is really taking that curve. And then I'm gonna bring up my sacral area, bring up my whole spine, let my chin come to my chest, grounding. Keep going with your long, full, slow breaths, tracking your breath with your movement, tracking your movement with your breath. Two more sets, please. Oh, I think that was two. I'm doing one more. I got lost in the feeling of that. Not so good. Coming back here. Now I'm going to have my toes tucked and I'm going to go around and make some big circles here. Really let my hips go around and make big, big circles like a spatula, right? Trying to get every little bit of that brownie mix out of the bowl. And then I'm going to come back around and reverse. Getting my hips active. One more time. Coming back into center here. And now we're going to just make a C shape here by taking that right hip out and then take a look over my right shoulder and squeeze into the side of my body here. Coming back forward, take my left hip out and then take my gaze back. Looking back, trying to see if I can see that hip, but definitely feeling that pressure there, that connection when I'm trying to squeeze shoulder and hip towards one another. Come back to center one more time each side. Back to center and onto my left side. Hip goes out, gaze comes back, squeezing in there. And then back into center. All right, remember we were on our forearms earlier. Let's come onto our forearms again. And so for me, forearms are about the distance. If you take your hands and hold on to your elbows and then release them, that's about the distance I would like you to have your forearms on the ground here. Come on back towards your tailbone, towards the ground. Your forehead comes onto the ground. And then bring yourself up and take your weight forward. Try to touch your nose to the ground. Bring yourself up. Take your tailbone back. Forehead down. All the time, trying to maintain that parallel position with your forearms. The elbows are going to want to push away from one another. Push down in the forearms, lifting yourself out of these little tiny push-ups is what we're doing here. Keep bringing my elbows in as they want to spread out. 2 more times. Push down and back. And then staying on the forearms, toes are tucked here. We're going to lift our knees off the ground here. And just hold ourselves here and take our tailbone back, bring our head forward, take our tailbone back, bring our head forward, tailbone back, head forward, getting some core work here and getting some weight bearing on those forearms, getting ourselves stronger here. One more time. And knees down. Let's stay on those forearms. And we're going to rise higher this time into dolphin pose. Okay, so I've got my toes tucked. I'm going to lift my knees up and I'm going to extend my legs long. We've already done some nice opening for the back side of the legs. I'm going to walk my legs out here. My knees are bending left and right, feeling my forearms strongly attached to the mat. And I'm going to come to stillness here. Again, still trying to maintain the parallel position of those forearms. Letting my tailbone come back more. Maybe my ears come in close to my biceps. Pulling in and up on my kneecap to strengthen. Bringing muscle to bone on those thighs. Breathing. And releasing, knees down. Woo. Let's come into a together-legged child's pose. So my legs are together, knees are together, and I'm going to take my hands back and my forehead to the ground. Woo. I just come into this nice little yoga ball. Come back into a breath pace. That seems calming. For me, that was a lot of work to stand my forearms that long. Next breath. Let's take yourself up and we're going to come into down dog. So tuck your toes, take your tailbone up and come on to your feet and hands. Okay, all fours here. Letting your tailbone come back, making this nice V shape here. And again, if you need, we've done that leg lengthening on the back side, but you can go ahead and walk the dog a bit here. And let's take and keep strengthening our arms, letting our left foot stay down. Let the right one rise up high here. And let's go ahead with three-limbed dog here, three-legged dog, and take circles with that right foot, right ankle. And go around in the opposite way. We did pointing and flexing when we were seated in that straddle position. Now we're going to just take some circles here. And then I want to bend into that knee and lift, pulsing my toes up towards the ceiling. Feeling this in your hands. Fingers are pushing into the ground more than the base of your palm. Lift up high. Take that knee out and take 4 circles forward. And 4 back. And then the knees down, the toes are up, nice and high here. And then placing that right foot down, walk out your feet. And before we do the next slide, let's let our arms relax by opening up our knees, taking our toes together and extending into that wide-legged child's pose. Let your forehead come to the ground. Let your arms relax. Take those breaths so that your belly presses into the inner thighs there. Good. And then let's come on up, finding our tabletop to begin with. Tuck toes, lift up, come on back into your down dog. Again, fingers are outstretched. Fingers are pressing in more than right underneath your wrist. My right leg's going to take hold of the ground. My left one lifts up nice and high here. Trying to keep my hips in alignment. I'm going to go ahead and take some circles with that left foot. And then reversing that around in the opposite direction. Making some clickety-clackety noises, maybe at least I am. And then lifting those toes up and bend into the knee and begin some pulses here with a bent knee, toes pointed, feeling that in the back of the thigh, all the way up to your glute and hip there on that side. And then raising it up high, taking the hip and opening it. Let's take 4 circles forward. And 4 back. And raising it up high. And letting it come back down. Let's walk out those legs. And release right leg up again. Pointing that toe, bend into the knee. Take it in towards your nose. And then take that right foot between your hands. I'm going to remove my blanket right now. I'm going to take that back foot and notice that it's at about a 45-degree angle. So it's not completely forward, nor is it completely matching the back side of my mat. And my front knee is over my front ankle, toes are forward, right? So I just want to stretch my back, my spine straight again here. Pressing in again into that back foot with that angle that I've created. When I feel like I'm ready, I'm going to come on up, hands on my hips, sinking down maybe a little bit more into that front knee, making sure I've got the length between my feet that's comfortable for me, that I feel like I've got my good balance, and that width between the feet feels right for me. Trying to get hips as much forward as I can. And again, just sinking down, holding on to this base of my Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. I'm going to take my arms and lift them up. That feels right. You can also take it into a bend or keep them on your hips. All right. So lengthening up here from waist up, lowering from waist down. Just not letting that front knee go forward of that ankle. And from here, I'm going to go ahead, take my hands behind me, interlace, push down, lift my chest, and come and look up into this expressive Warrior One, heart reaching up. Exalting here. And rising up, releasing my hands. Remember what thumb was on top there, okay? We're coming back. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, take hands down, reverse your grip. Taking your body at an angle here, keeping low. And taking yourself just a quarter of the way down. Engage into your legs, into your core. Bring yourself slowly up on an inhale. Exhale, quarter of the way down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come on down. Maybe a little bit farther. Inhale, lift. I'm coming down about halfway now. And then on whichever depth you'd like to take, even a little farther maybe, find it and stay there. If you like, you can raise those arms up or let them stay at your hips. Let your heavy head sink into the ground. That heavy head that's filled with so much ego. We're letting it go here in a humble warrior. I'm going to push through my feet, extend my length in my spine, and begin to bring myself back up. Shoulders forward, releasing my hands, rising up. Exhale, my hands come down. My right foot comes back, and I push back into down dog. It's like, wow, down dog feels really, really good right now. Walking yourself here a bit. Taking that right foot, letting it stay grounded, lifting left leg up. Bend into that left knee. Take the knee towards your nose. And then take that foot in between your hands. Finding yourself, that back foot now, grounded at a 45-degree angle. Finding the depth. Finding the length. Finding the width. Finding your geometry here in our body. And making sure I've got a nice straight spine. All right, so I check out my feet. Everything looks good. Intensify the strength in that back leg. And then I rise up, taking my hands to my hips, bringing the hips a little bit forward maybe. But as I do, look, that knee wants to go out, so I'm going to try to keep it moving forward. I turn my body this way. And I'm going to release my hands and bring them up, lengthening the side body. Beautiful expression here. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. And then we're going to take it into Exalted. Pay attention to what thumb is on top here, pushing down. Let's open up our hearts. Lifting, gaze up. Chin lifts, throat opens. Shoulders maybe squeezing together so the heart can reach itself upward and outward a little bit more. And then bringing myself up, letting my hands go, coming back into that upward expression here. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Inhale, lift. Exhale, take that hand, both hands behind me, and the other thumb on top, squeezing shoulders together, taking my body towards at an angle here, pulling at my navel. Exhale, quarter the way down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, a quarter. Inhale. Maybe exhale half, or stay at a quarter. Inhale, lift. Exhale half, or stay at a quarter. Choose your depth, maybe farther than half. Where does your body want to land here? If you're taking your head down, really let the back side of your neck go. Chin comes towards your chest. Your arms can lift up too. Shoulders squeezing together if you like, but they can stay right here. This is a lot, and you want to come out of the half. You can take a block and let your head rest on the block if you'd like, if you want to take it down a bit. But anyway, either way, always here, we're letting that heavy head go. What is it that we need personally to release here so we become better people, so that we aren't so tied to our own ideas and our own thoughts and our own ways. We can be open to other people's experiences, values, going up our ego, not always having to be right. Pulling at my navel, lifting myself through half, quarter, Shoot. All right, I hope you guys are still there with me. Sorry, I had a phone call that came in, and I know we don't have that much longer, but sorry I lost you there. So we were coming up from our releasing of the eagle, turning our hips forward and our arms rise up. Inhale, really lengthening the side of our body. Exhale, hands come down, come onto either side of that front foot. Front foot comes back, and we release on back, down dog. If you like, take yourself forward into plank, and exhale back. Inhale, forward plank. Exhale back. Let's do that 2 more times, or stay happily in down dog, or take it to your knees. And then rise up high in the balls of your feet. Come on to open knees, toes together, and express yourself, forehead down. So I'm sorry, I'm still learning how to use this device, and I also sometimes forget to turn off the notifications and the calls, and that just happened, and I hope I didn't lose you guys forever. Please stay with me so we can close class together today. On this February 10th, and you'll be thinking of me at the end of this class if you're taking it from 10 to 11, because at 11 I'll be in line at least to be getting my next injection. And then bringing yourself up, let's go ahead and come into being on our spine for a bit. Have not been there today. And let's lay back and be with our legs in Sukhasana pose again, right, with the legs crossed, arms come out at your sides, and chin is tucked, letting your hips take the weight, shoulders take the weight. Hips should feel really open from everything that we've done today. We have not done a lot of twisting, so we'll do some spinal twists here towards the end of our class. Letting ourselves just sink into the floor to begin with. Feeling now like this mat is what we had at the beginning of class, with our back against the wall. Now it's our back against the mat. Just a difference in our angle. And let's go ahead and place our feet flat on the mat and pull in navel to spine, just like we did on the wall, so that we can feel that lumbar spine on the mat as we did on the wall. And I'm taking my left foot in just a bit, taking my right knee over. First, before I do anything, I'm just going to squeeze here. Just do a few Kegels and squeezing in my thighs into my pubic area there, urogenital area. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. I know we all want to get onto a trampoline again someday, right? Be able to trampoline away with a full bladder, with the urine staying inside, not outside. Let's squeeze and hold. And then slowly release. So I don't know if that was a good visual or not. Let your knees come over to the left. Take a look over your right side, right palm down there. Or right palm up. You guys, whatever feels good. And let's inhale those legs up, knees toward the ceiling. And exhale, let's take them on over to the right. I'm going to look over my left shoulder here. Feel what I feel in my hips, in my legs, in my spine. And inhale, lifting my legs back up, knees towards the ceiling. And I'm going to go ahead and cross the opposite way. And I'm not going to let this side not have some Kegel action too. So I want to squeeze and pulse my legs together. Squeezing in. And I'm going to squeeze and hold. Holding, squeezing, squeeze, squeeze, and release. And letting my legs come over to the left, looking over my right hand, feeling what I feel. Right now, my right hip flexor feels like it's really nice and open. A good stretch there. Getting a good twist in my lower spine. My neck is getting a nice passive twist here as well, and stretch. Looking with my right, I'm going to inhale. Attach my spine back, lower spine to the mat, and then let myself go. Legs over to the right, gaze over to the left. Breathing here. And then inhale, my legs come back up. Uncrossing, knees stay together, feet come out to the edges of my mat. Chin stays tucked. Lower spine connects to the ground as well as my thoracic spine. As much of my spine as I can be in contact with the ground. Feel connected here. And then walking my feet in so they touch, opening up into Baddha Konasana and releasing my lower spine off the ground. Letting my hips just open here naturally. And my hands maybe come back down towards my thighs a bit, palms up instead of down, just to change the perception, right? The perspective of from being down to being up and feeling the difference there, releasing as opposed to receiving. We're hoping to balance those things in our life, the receptivity and the releasing. And then inhaling, legs together. I'm going to cross at my ankles and just roll up here. I'm going to face back towards you all. I'm not going to be up against the wall now, and let's find, if we can, a nice straight spine that we need to engage in our core area to do. All right, so remember when we were on that wall and we were engaging, right? We would inhale, lengthen, exhale, engage right in there as we would push that lumbar spine up against the wall. See if you can do that without the wall, okay? 3 breaths like that. Good. And then just come back to your normal breath pace here. Thank you. And I hope I didn't lose you through that technical difficulty there. I hope you're able to end the class with me. And I know that this virtual manner leaves something to be desired, but at least when we're on Zoom, we know that we can, connect live to live. But this is like the 3rd generation, right? This is at least we're able to connect, and I hope you did stay with me so that it is worth all of our time and effort to be together for this class. And even though the togetherness may be me doing this pre-recorded and you doing it on the day that we generally offer the class. So from my heart to yours. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. And I will look forward to seeing you live and in person, virtually, next week on Wednesday, the 17th. So from my heart to yours, namaste. And thank you again, Denise, for taking care of all of this for us. See you all.